What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to my Premier League predictions video for the 2021-22 season. Let me know your top 4, top 6 prediction, but if you want you can write out the whole 20 clubs. So on the right side of the screen you will see the clubs that in order that I predicted, and on the left side you can see the latest transfers, and I'm recording this on the Saturday morning, so you can see all the latest signings of the clubs as up to this date, and I'm really excited for the new Premier League season. So let me know your predictions and leave a like on this video if you enjoy these. And I want to say a huge thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring my channel for this month. OneFootball is the home of football, my favorite app. I've been using it for years. You can find all kinds of football news on there, and also you can find the stats, the latest transfer news. I've been going there almost every day checking the Liverpool transfer news, because they combine the best and most interesting transfer news and football news. And you can find also interesting videos, stats, analysis, fantasy football tips, and all kinds of interesting football related content on the OneFootball apps, and it's completely free. So what are you waiting for? Make sure to download OneFootball using the link in the video's description, and you support the channel as well that way. And the bottom club that I predict will be Norwich City. I think that they will struggle because of mainly of their defense, but they made some very good signings, and I have nothing against Norwich. I think they are a brilliant club with fantastic fans, and they actually made some very good signings, especially Rashica and Sargent, two big talents from Werder Bremen, for a combined 20 million euros is really good business. Angus Gunn is also an experienced goalkeeper, one to watch. Billy Gilmour, Jurgen Klopp called him the best talent from Scottish football in the last 50 years, which is a big compliment. But of course they lost Buendia to Aston Villa. That was the biggest shock for Norwich fans, I think, and I think Norwich will do well, but I just can't, because of their defense, I just can't see them staying up in the Premier League, because defensively they really didn't get better, and Buendia is a huge loss for them. So that's why I predict them to finish in 20th place. And in 19th place I predict Southampton, and this comes as a shock to many of you guys, I'm sure, because Southampton has been a regular Premier League club, but they lost some huge players. Dennings and Vestergaard's transfer has been confirmed. They signed, Leicester City signed him, and Dennings signs for Aston Villa, and that came out of nowhere. No links, no rumors, nothing, and then bang, Aston Villa announced that they are signing Dennings. And yes, Adam Armstrong is a very prolific striker, but he was playing in the Championship, and I don't know whether he's good enough for the Premier League. We will find that out. I think the whole Southampton season will basically rest on Adam Armstrong and whether he can score enough goals. Che Adams is a decent striker, but he won't get you 15 to 20 goals, the goal tally that Dennings regularly got for Southampton. And as I said, they lost some huge players. Lamine also went to Nice, but Dennings and Vestergaard are two of the big losses, and Southampton only won like 5 games in the second half of last season, so they are already in bad form. And the last club to get relegated, it will be 18th place Watford. They are also a newly promoted side, and I don't think they strengthened their team enough. Emmanuel Dennis is a decent striker from Club Brugge. He already played in the Champions League previously, but they also lost Craig Dawson, Ben Wilmot, and other players as well. So I think that Watford, yes, they have a decent team, but they probably didn't strengthen their club enough or their team enough just to stay up. But of course they can prove me wrong, because I remember one season I predicted them get relegated and they stayed up pretty comfortably. So you never know with Watford. They are pretty hard to predict where they finish in the season. And in 17th place I predict Burnley. I think Sean Dyche is doing a terrific job, but Burnley, with the lack of investment, sooner or later they will get relegated. I think they will just stay up because of Sean Dyche, but they really should invest more in their squad. They always have a mid-table finish, and they rarely flirt with relegation. But this could be a season where Burnley really struggle and get relegated, because their main transfer has been Collins from Stoke. He's a Championship centre-back. Yes, very young, talented. They also lost Ben Gibson to Norwich City, and I think Burnley with Sean Dyche are a very reliable club, but once Sean Dyche goes, I don't see Burnley staying staying up without actually investing in their squad. And I predict Brentford to stay up. The one promoted club who will stay up will be Brentford. They had a fantastic start against Arsenal. The Brentford home stadium got its first goals, and also the first goals from Brentford since 1947. Can you imagine? For like almost 80 years, Brentford haven't been in the English top flight, and they started with a bang. And they also made some really good transfers. Ayer from Celtic is a decent centre back. Onyeka from Midtjylland is also a decent centre midfielder, and Vissa is a pretty good winger from Lorient. I followed Lorient last season in the French league quite closely, so I know about him. And I think Brentford, with their tactics that they will play high pressing attacking football, will earn a lot of fans, just like Leeds United last season. And their main striker Ivan Toney, I expect him to get at least 10, maybe even 15 goals, depending how many penalties Brentford get, because Toney is their main penalty taker. And I think Brentford will surprise a lot of people. I'm not sure Arsenal expected these attacking tactics by Brentford, but if they didn't, they surely didn't watch Brentford, because they were all out attack for pretty much the whole of last season in the Championship. They were one of the top scorers in the Championship, if not the top scorers, and they are a joy to watch. So if you can, watch Brentford games, because they will play attacking, exciting football. In 15th place, I predict Brighton to finish. Last season they finished in 16th place, and their expected goals and expected conceded goals were they should have finished higher, basically what I'm trying to say. They should have scored more goals. What they lack is a striker, a prolific striker who can finish their chances, and they still haven't addressed that. They still haven't gone out and got an out-and-out striker, which I don't really understand. Mvepu from Salzburg is a decent midfielder, but they should have signed a striker, in my opinion. And of course, losing Ben White to Arsenal is a big loss, but I think from that amount of money they should reinvest that into the squad and get a striker. But I know it's hard, because Brighton is not a flashy name, so it's hard to attract the kind of caliber of striker that they need at the Premier League level. And I predict Newcastle United to finish in 14th place. Steve Bruce is doing a pretty good job, but I feel sorry for Newcastle fans, because the lack of investment in the squad is really hurting their ambitions. And Newcastle, I still count them as a big club with a big fan base, with a fantastic stadium. So they should be pushing for Europa League places. Look at Aston Villa. A few seasons ago they were in the Championship, and now with fantastic recruitment and the right investment, they will push the top teams for top 8 or top 6 finish. Newcastle should have the same ambitions, but their owner Mike Ashley just don't want to invest in the club. Joe Willock is their new signing, and he did fantastically well at the second half of last season, scoring 8 games in a row. Him alone is not enough. I think Newcastle should sign more players, and they also lost Muto and Atsu, yes, they got a little bit stronger, but they need more investment, in my opinion, to finish higher up the table. It's very hard to predict what Newcastle will do this season, because it has been a major overhaul at at Crystal Palace. I predict Crystal Palace to finish in 13th place. They have a new manager, Patrick Vieira, his first job in the Premier League, and they also let go a lot of older players, but they also signed pretty well. I think Way from Swansea is very, very good. He was on loan at Swansea from Chelsea, and that is a very, very good signing. Anderson from Lyon is another young centre-back, and they replaced pretty much 30, 31, 32, 35, 34-year-old centre-backs. I mean, they lost Scott Dan, Gary Cahill. They also lost Mamadou Sakho. They lost Andros Townsend to Everton. They lost Patrick Van Aanvoort. So basically, almost their whole back line was replaced. That's why it's very hard to predict what will happen. I still think they need a little bit more in terms of transfers, and also the big unknown quantity is Patrick Vieira. How good he is in the Premier League, we will find out. And I predict Wolves to finish in 12th place. I think Wolves is also a very unknown quantity. It will be in the Premier League, because they also have a new manager. They lost quite a few big players. Rui Patricio to Roma is the main one. Also Cutrone went to Empoli on loan. I think they should have given Cutrone more chances. They also sold Ruben Vinagre, and they didn't really sign many players. Trincao from Barcelona is a big one, I think, for them, and Rafa Mir comes back from Huesca. He's also a big talent, but I think Wolves need a little bit more investment to push into the top 5 of the table. And also it's a big question whether Raúl Jiménez will score at the same rate that he used to before his head injury. So I think the Wolves this season hinges on Raúl Jiménez and whether he can score a lot of goals for Wolves. And I predict West Ham United to finish in 11th place. I think the Europa League or Europa League campaign will take a toll on West Ham. They still need more players. I think their squad is very thin. If they get any major injuries, they will be in massive trouble. They still don't have another out-and-out striker despite Antonio, and also Jesse Lingard, they didn't sign him. He went back to Man United, and I think that will be a huge loss for West Ham, because Jesse Lingard was one of the main reasons why West Ham were in contention to finish in the top 4 almost until the end of the season. David Moyes has proved me wrong, and as you can see, they lost Felipe Anderson, Balbuena as well, so they need more players than just Craig Dawson, and Araola on loan is a good goalkeeper, but they should sign a striker. With European football, they will have more money coming in. They should sign a striker, otherwise if Antonio gets injured, who will they play up front? That's the big question for me. And I predict Leeds United to finish in 10th place. I think Marcel Bielsa did an absolutely amazing job with Leeds United, and they also signed Junior Firpo from Barcelona, who is a decent left back, very fast. Jack Harrison from Man City, he was out on loan last season, and they didn't lose any major players apart from Alioski and Pablo Fernandez. Kiko Casilla also was loaned out, but I think that Leeds United will do well. Maybe they would be wise to sign another striker to ease the burden on Patrick Bamford. That's my only complaint with Leeds United. But 10th place, I think they will solidly finish in mid-season, score a lot of goals and play entertaining attacking football. And I predict Everton, Liverpool's Merseyside rivals, to finish in 9th place. Rafa Benitez, I think, will have a tough first season. The Everton fans are the least optimistic about the season, and mainly because of the lack of investment, and also because Rafa Benitez is a Liverpool legend. I still can't believe he's an Everton manager. But I think they will play solid tactical football. They will defend well. Probably Rafa Benitez will set them up defensively very well. The big question is, will they score enough goals? Their whole season, I think, hinges on the fitness of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If he stays fit for the whole season, Everton will score goals. If not, they could struggle for goals. Andros Townsend on a free transfer is a decent signing for Everton, but I think they need more. Demarai Gray is a steal from Bayer Leverkusen, but I think they need more in the attacking areas. And I predict Aston Villa to finish in 8th place. I love Aston Villa's recruitment. I think they are doing some amazing deals, and also they were very smart to sign players like Buendia, Dennings, Leon Bailey before selling Jack Grealish, because imagine if they sold Jack Grealish and all clubs knew they had 100 million pounds burning a hole in their pocket. They would have had to pay 10 million more for all of these players. Buendia, Dennings and Bailey are all fantastic attacking signings, and Aston Villa already weren't bad attacking wise, so I think they more than replaced Jack Grealish and his goals and creativity. So I think Aston Villa will be pushing for a top 6 place, and I won't be surprised if they even finish ahead of teams like Arsenal or Tottenham. But I still think that Aston Villa defensively sometimes they can be a little bit shaky, and they didn't lose any major players. Samatta wasn't a regular starter at them, so I think that they will do very well this season, Aston Villa. I predict Arsenal to finish in 7th place, and Arsenal will only qualify for Europe if the FA Cup and the League Cup is won by a team in the top 6, or if Arsenal win a domestic trophy. And I think Arsenal will struggle again because Mikel Arteta is just not good enough in my opinion, and also their recruitment has been pretty suspect once again. Ben White is a decent signing, but he's not really good in the air, and I think the opposition teams will target that. And they sold one of their biggest talents, youth academy player Willock, to Newcastle for 25 million because they couldn't give him guaranteed playing time. Why do you start Lokonga in their first game against Brentford? I think Willock is a better player, so they should have promised Willock to start him regularly and not sign Lokonga. Sevilla, and basically they would have been I think better off that way. Nuno Tavares is a very talented left back, but he's still very young, and I think Arsenal need more signings, more robust players, and they also need a very good goal scoring attacker or winger, because Aubameyang had a very underwhelming season last season. I'm not sure he will be much better this season. And I predict Tottenham to finish in 6th place, but of course a lot depends on whether Harry Kane will sign for Man City at the end of this transfer window or not, because if they lose Harry Kane, Tottenham could finish even lower than 6th place. But right now, at this moment, Harry Kane is still a Tottenham player. They signed Brian Gil from Sevilla, who is a very talented player, but they also lost some important players like Foyth and Alderweireld, and also Lamela went to Sevilla on a free transfer, and of course they won't have Gareth Bale. So I think if Tottenham lose Harry Kane, they will be in massive trouble. Then their main goal scorer will be Heung-min Son, and I think they need a lot more than that. If Harry Kane stays and they sign a couple of more players, then I can see them doing well. Golini and Romero are also good players signed by Tottenham, so I think they still will finish in the top 6, but only just. And I predict Leicester City to once again miss out on a top 4 finish, because I think that with the Europa League and the domestic football, they just don't have a big enough squad. Jamie Vardy is also 1 year older. I'm not sure how long he can keep up scoring regularly for Leicester City, but they made some fantastic signings. Yannick Vestergaard has just been confirmed to sign from Southampton. Patson Daka, I think, is a huge talent, and he will need to score goals in the absence of Jamie Vardy. Iheanacho is also a good player. Soumare is a very good signing from Lille, but I think they got a major injury in defense. Amarte, I think, or not sure. No, it was another player who got a big injury in the Community Shield for Leicester, so that player will be a big miss. I just don't remember his name off the top of my head. Sorry about that. I think Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic manager. Leicester are doing very well with their recruitment. They are signing very good young talents, and when they sell players, they sell them on for a big profit. So I think Leicester will be again a joy to watch, but I think that the other top teams in the top 4 are just a little bit stronger than Leicester. And I predict Manchester United to finish in 4th place. I think they signed terrific players, the players that I have been saying Man United need for years. Jadon Sancho will be fantastic for them. I'm very jealous that Man United signed him. I wanted him to come to Liverpool, and also, even though it's not confirmed yet, Rafael Varane is very close to signing for Man United as well. And they lost players, but not like significant players. The big question mark for me in the Man United team is their third midfielder, either Fred or McTominay, and also their goalkeeper. I think De Gea and Dean Henderson, they both haven't convinced last season, so they will have problems. But with Varane and Maguire, if they can keep Varane fit for like 30 Premier League games, then Man United will have a great season, because Sancho, Rashford, Cavani, Martial, they have goals galore in attack. They just need to be solid defensively, and then they could be even involved in the title race. But I just think the other 3 teams are even better than Man United. That's why I have them finishing in 4th place. And I predict Chelsea to finish in 3rd place. I think Chelsea addressed their biggest issue, which was goal scoring. Their top scorer in the Premier League last season was Jorginho with 7 penalty goals, and Timo Werner only scored 6 goals. Timo Werner has been a massive disappointment, and Chelsea signing Lukaku for 150 million euros is an absolutely incredible transfer. I have no idea how they signed him in the pandemic. That is just mind-blowing that Chelsea could sign Lukaku when so many clubs have financial difficulties. They also lost Tomori to AC Milan and Giroud to AC Milan as well. But I think Lukaku fixes a lot of Chelsea's issues. I just still think that Liverpool and Man City are stronger than Chelsea still, and Lukaku will still score a lot of goals. He could be the top scorer in the Premier League with 20-25 goals. We will see. And now the big one: who will win the Premier League title? In my opinion, and I'm backing my team Liverpool to win the title. I predicted Liverpool to win the title last season, but nobody could foresee the injury crisis that Liverpool faced. That at one point or another we had 10, 11 injuries, and consistently we had 7 or 8 injuries, and no team can cope with that, maybe apart from Manchester City. I think Man City got stronger with Jack Grealish for 100 million. That's a ridiculous transfer. To do it in a pandemic is it's just a mockery of financial fair play. You know my opinion on Man City. I don't think they should be allowed to do this, but they lost Angelino to Leipzig, and they lost Aguero and Garcia to Barcelona, so those are big losses. It all depends on Harry Kane. If Harry Kane goes to Man City, I think Man City will win the title, but if Man City don't sign Harry Kane, I don't see how they can be allowed to do it. They sold some players, yes, but to sign Harry Kane on top of Jack Grealish, to spend 250 million pounds in one single transfer window in the pandemic, it would be an absolute joke, and I don't think this should be allowed. But I think Man City play good football with Guardiola, but their titles will be forever tainted by the huge, incredible 1 billion pounds that the Man City owners have poured into this football club. And I used to like Man City, to be honest, but now they just make it absolutely ridiculous with these 100 million pound transfers and their unlimited spending. It's just everything that is wrong with modern football, in my opinion. And I predict Liverpool to win the title. I think with Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez and Matip back, with Konate, our defense got a lot stronger, and Liverpool's title winning side was built on a solid defense, and I expect Liverpool to get back to solid defending this season. And also Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino will be much better with fans back in the stadium. Konate is a fantastic signing. Liverpool lost Gini Wijnaldum, but I still think that Liverpool will make one more transfer. Shaqiri is in the process of being sold to Lyon, and I think when that transfer goes through, Liverpool will sign either an attacker or a midfielder. Also, Jota was out for 3 months last season. This season, hopefully Jota can play throughout the season, and I expect Jota to score a lot of goals as well. They will rotate him with Firmino, Mane and Salah. Harvey Elliott, this will be a huge season for Liverpool, and I just trust Liverpool, honestly. After last season, I think they will be extra motivated, extra hungry to get back that Premier League title where it belongs, at Anfield. So come on Liverpool, good luck, and that's it for the Premier League predictions video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you later. Goodbye.